What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be predicting every UFC pay-per-view main event for the rest of 2024. So, obviously, I'm going to be doing the ones that haven't been announced yet, because we already know every fight that's been announced, and we already know that for every pay-per-view main event that's happened. So, let's get started. For UFC 304, it is going to be in the UK. So, I think it's going to be Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, and I think the co-main event is going to be Tom Aspinall. It's not looking like it's going to be Curtis Blades, which sucks. That fight makes so much more sense than Cyril Gane at this point. So yeah, I think maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they made Aspinall the main event over Leon and Bilal, especially because Bilal is just not the most entertaining fighter, and Aspinall, he's a heavyweight. He has a lot of hype around him right now, so that fight could definitely be the main event. But I think that if I had to bet on it, I would probably lean towards Leon Edwards because he's an undisputed champion. He already has he has two title defenses, and Dana White was just talking about him, talking about how Leon accepted all these fights. So Dana White's happy with him right now. He has multiple title defenses. He beat Usman twice. He just beat Colby. So yeah, he's coming off some good wins. He's an undisputed champion. Dana White likes him right now. So yeah, I think that this is probably going to end up being the main event, and Aspinall is going to be the co-main event. But I don't know. Some other fights that I think are going to be on the card. I think Paddy Pimblett's going to fight on the card. I think Arnold Allen's going to fight on the card. I think MVP is going to fight on the card. I think Paddy Pimblett's probably going to end up fighting Bobby Green or Marcano. I think Arnold Allen's probably going to fight Giga Chikadze or maybe Josh Emmett. MVP, he might fight Wonder Boy, but I saw that he didn't want to fight him because he thinks the fight wouldn't be entertaining, and they like each other. What other matchups in the 170 division? Let me pull up the rankings real quick. For 170, Michael Venom Page is ranked number 13, so maybe Jeff Neal, maybe Ian Gary. Ian Gary's probably fighting Colby. Maybe Jack Della Mena if he doesn't fight Shavkat. Maybe I don't know. There's a couple ideas. Maybe Joaquin Buckley. There's a couple good matchup ideas for him. So yeah, I think that those are going to be some good fights on the undercard. But the pay-per-view main event, I think that's going to be Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad too. Moving on, Australia, that's going to be UFC 305, is going to be in Australia in August, and I think the main event's going to be Dricus versus Adesanya. We all know that the UFC is making that the main event because Sean Strickland, they booked him against somebody, they booked Whitaker against somebody, they booked Khamzat against somebody, so none of them are getting a title shot anytime soon, or unless they want to make a really quick turnaround. But yeah, so Izzy's probably going to get the next title shot in the middleweight division. Or not probably. I'm like 95% sure that him and Dricus are going to fight next. And they're probably going to do it in Australia. Because what else is going to be the main event for this card? For Australia, it makes sense. Izzy, he lives in New Zealand or some shit, right? So, yeah, put this as a main event. Shavkat versus Jack Della Mena would be a good co-main event. Who else could be on the card? Who else is from Australia? I don't know. I can't think of anyone from the top of my head. But yeah, they can put out. Oh yeah, Kai Kara France, Tai Tuivasa, Kai Kara France versus Kape would be a good fight. So yeah, there's a couple good fights that you could put on this card. But I think this is going to be the main event, and I think they're going to do a 5-round non-title fight co-main event with Shavkat versus Jack Della Mena. But the main event is most likely going to be Dricus versus Israel Adesanya. Moving up, I think in the spear, what I think they should do is Max versus Ilya. I think that's the fight to make in the spear because entertainment-wise, that fight's going to be crazy. I think it's going to honestly have a little bit more hype than this fight, but the UFC is really trying to push O'Malley. O'Malley's been saying he wants to fight in the spear. It is Mexican Independence Day, and I get neither of them are Mexican, but Henry, or not fucking Henry Cejudo, Merab has been getting a lot of Mexican support recently because he came with the flag or some shit, right? So he has a little bit of a Mexican fan base, and yeah, I think Sean O'Malley's been saying for a while he wants to fight in the spear. So I think they're going to do what Sean O'Malley wants. I mean, they literally built a super stacked card just to make him look like a star. So yeah, this is what they're probably going to end up doing. It's going to be a good fight. They're probably going to stack up the card too. Honestly, maybe they will put Max and Ilya on this card. They'll probably put it as a co-main under this, or I don't know what they put because they're trying to build Ilya also. But I think Shevchenko versus Grasso is probably going to be the co-main event. Undercard, there's nothing I can think of from the top of my head. Maybe you put Aljo against somebody, but I think Aljo should fight Volk, but I don't know what the UFC is going to do. Maybe Brian Ortega versus Moscar is on the card. I don't know. There's a couple ideas. There's a couple things they could do. Maybe Song Yadong on the card. Song Yadong versus Kyler Phillips too. I don't know. There's a couple ideas. There's some good. They're definitely going to put some good fights on this card. It's a spear. The first time they're doing an event like this in the spear. So yeah, this is what I think they're most likely going to put as the main event. Because I don't think Shevchenko versus Grasso should headline a pay-per-view. Moving on, UFC 307, I think that's going to be in Abu Dhabi. So I think Islam, after he beats Dustin Poirier, is going to fight Arman. I know he's been saying he wants to fight in the MSG, but I just don't think. I think why would he fight in the MSG over Abu Dhabi? I know he's fought at Abu Dhabi multiple years, and I think he's going to do it again. Him and Arman would sell big in Abu Dhabi. You know, they fought once. There's a good storyline around it. And yeah, if Islam wants to stay active, I think that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna fight in Abu Dhabi. Then I think Leon's gonna fight maybe in like January. I don't have Leon in this video because Leon's not the most active, and around the end of the year, a lot of guys are gonna be open, and I just see them putting other people as a main event on pay-per-views over Leon. But yeah, this is gonna be a good fight. It has a good storyline to it. It'll be a great main event for a pay-per-view. Some other options, maybe they'll do Magomed versus Magomed versus Alex Pereira. Maybe that could be the main event, or they honestly might put it as a co-main event under Islam because in Abu Dhabi, Islam really sells. So yeah, maybe Alex Pereira versus Magomed could be the co-main, or maybe if Islam isn't fighting here, maybe that could Alex Pereira versus Magomed could be the main. Maybe Isrealadesanya versus Khamzat if Isrealadesanya is willing to make the turnaround if he beats Dricus, maybe that could be the main event. So there's a couple options, but I think this is the most safe option. It makes the most sense. Islam's very likely to beat Dustin, and this fight has a good storyline behind it, and Arman's earned his title shot. So yeah, this would be a great main event to UFC 307 Abu Dhabi. And yeah, some fights you could put on the undercard. I don't know, just the normal Abu Dhabi guys, like normal Russian dudes. Fucking throw them in Abu Dhabi on the undercard. You can make a solid card out of it. Moving on to November MSG, I think they're gonna do John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, and I think honestly what they're gonna end up doing is putting Alex Pereira as a co-main event. Because I'm gonna spoil it right now. I don't have Alex Pereira fighting in December. I think what they're gonna do is what they did, what they were supposed to do for Alex Pereira and Yuri Proshkic. I think that they were gonna put that as a co-main to John Jones because what they're originally supposed to do was they were going to do John Jones versus Stipe in November of 2023, and the co-main event was going to be Alex Pereira versus Yuri. But then John Jones ended up pulling out. They moved Alex Pereira versus Yuri to the main event slot, and I think they're going to try and replicate that. I think they're going to try and have John Jones versus Stipe headline the card. I think John Jones looks fat as hell right now, so I don't think he's going to be fighting in the summer or September. Probably not even October. And October is Abu Dhabi. It would make sense to put John Jones in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I think John Jones versus Stipe is going to be a headliner, and I think they're going to put Alex Pereira versus Magomed or the Yuri rematch as a co-main event. And yeah, it's going to be a good card. You always want to make MSG a stack card. So yeah, I think they're going to stack up this card. And yeah, the main event's going to be John Jones versus Stipe, and I think they're going to put Alex Pereira as a co-main event. So for the last event of the year, you ended off with a banger. UFC 309, Iliatopuria versus Max Holloway. This is a banger fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I think it's going to be a huge fight. I think this is a perfect fight to end off the year because this is going to be the last fight of 2024. The last fight that happens in 2024, most likely. Or no, there's probably going to be fight nights, but this is going to be the last pay-per-view fight of 2024. You end it off with a bang. I say you have it be the last event of the year, so you can just have this be the last fight of the year. Because, bro, this fight's going to be insane. You got Max Holloway with the iron. Max Holloway's growing himself into a power puncher right now, right? So he's got fucking dynamite in his hands right now, basically. And then you got Ilya, who also has dynamite in his hands, and fucking Max with the iron chin, who's going to eat all those shots and going to try and give the shots back. We all saw Max Holloway's last couple of fights. Bangers after bangers after bangers. He always brings it. Now he's got the BMF belt. He's got so much hype around him. Same thing with Ilya coming off that amazing win over Volk. This is going to be a banger fight. It's going to be a great fight to end the year off, and it's December, so what other fights can they put on there? Maybe Leon as a co-main event, but I think he's probably going to end up fighting in January. What other fights? Oh yeah, Pantoja versus Steve Eric. The winner of that, I think that would be a great co-main. Probably what they're going to end up doing. I think Pantoja is probably going to be the co-main of this. Maybe Pantoja versus Cape if Cape beat someone like Karkar France. Maybe Pantoja versus I think they're going to book Makaya versus who the fuck is supposed to Makaya versus Ravel, so maybe Pantoja versus the winner of that. Pantoja has a couple options to fight, and yeah, he would be a good co-main event to the card. You can make it a decent card, but I think this would be a perfect main event to end the year off. Oh yeah, also Volk. I think Volk versus Aljo would be a good co-main event. Alright, so put in the comments what you guys think of the matchups I made, what pay-per-views you think are going to happen for the rest of the year, and like, comment, subscribe, all that. Peace out.